Hello everyone, George here, and we're back again with my implementation of an animatronics game. As you may or may not have remembered from a few videos ago, due to the fact that the Five Nights at Freddy's series is expanding and evolving and they're putting out their own VR game and everything, I am no longer going to refer to this as a FNAF project or anything like that. We are going to be moving it in another direction. I just want to avoid any kind of copyright issues or anything else that would cause a cease and desist letter to actually occur. All those kinds of things are going to be pushed to the side for the moment. In the last video, I realized that in this game, I've done it several times in other ones, but in this game, I forgot to completely implement the ability to pick objects up and manipulate them because we have not needed to use it yet. Now, we've already instituted a usable system that allows us to interact with items. However, that doesn't necessarily work in our case. Now, we could modify usable to work, but it probably is just going to be easier for us to use tags, because I haven't actually been using tags for anything at the moment, I don't believe, to just make an object be tagged as pick upable. And then if it is pick upable, when you click on it, there'll be a pick upable manager that will then assign it to your hand that you picked it up with. Or we put them on the hands, and if it intersects something, I don't know at the moment. We're going to figure this stuff out together as we move along, because I'm not the kind of person who likes to plan ahead. When it comes to coding, I just do it, see what happens, break things, and then make it work. So let's go to Edit, and let's see, Project Settings, and let's go to Tags, and we're going to create a new tag. Yeah, so we have animatronics, waypoint, and so forth. We're going to do Pick Up, a pickup tag, and save that on out. And let's go back. Oh, we don't need services. Let's close that tab. Thank you. Save that again. And let's go into our, let's see, Foxy Animatronics. And let's grab all of our objects. Right now they have no tags, so that's perfect. And let's go ahead and give them the pick up tag. I just want to make sure. I don't have anything like this, right? No. And usable isn't a tag either. Therefore, it's completely, it's new and free for me to work with. Let's think about what we're going to do. We do need to think a little bit. We have a tag. That means we're going to need to intersect the object at some point. Therefore, each object is going to need a collider if we don't already have one, but I believe we do. Each object has a rigid body. Each object has a box collider as well, and they're all set to kinematic. Therefore, we're going to be doing triggerable hits, most likely. In here, though, we have box collider with is trigger off. That's going to be something we need to change. So let's grab, our hands have triggers, don't they? Let's go to body, take a look at our controllers, and see if we have the ability to intersect objects. So we have a sphere collider, which is triggerable. Therefore, it will get a trigger signal when we intersect with something. So the hands themselves are probably going to be doing the dirty work. And we have a Vive left controller, and we have a Vive right controller script. Yes, we do. Let's open them up really fast and see what we have going on here. So we have uses right here, and we have an on trigger enter. We have a hover and a usable. So we're probably also going to want to do the same thing now with pick up. Now, some of these things probably are going to need to overlap eventually. Usable and pick up might become the same thing, but for right now, let's just not do that. So before we have usable, but what if an object is both usable and pick upable? Well, then it would be an inventory item. We haven't dealt with that yet, but that's something we might want to, let's just put a note in here to ourselves. What if we have a usable / pickup item to use in the game? How do we handle that? Good question. For right now, we're not going to handle that. We're going to go based upon the features we've already chosen, not on new features in the future. If we've gotten through the hover, we've gotten through the usable, then we're at the tag check. So if temp.game, can I do the tag check here? Tag. What is temp? Oh, temp is something I grabbed. Other is what I want. So other.tag. Tag dot equals, and we're going to do, what was it? Pick up. I have to double check to make sure I spelled that right. If it's a pick up object and we have intersected it, which is what happens here, then we are going to want to bind that object as a child object to our hand. Okay, now here's the part where things get interesting. Based upon where we intersect that object, if we use its current position to bind it to it, we're going to have an offset. Therefore, every hand should probably have a locator or a transform that tells you where that object should actually be bound. But for right now, not important. Who cares? Let's just attach that thing to your hand and go with it as it is. We're going to do other.gameObject.transform.parent is going to be equal to whatever controller we currently are working with, which is this.transform. Yes, this.transform. And we are also going to do other.gameObject.transform.position. Set position and rotation. I don't want to do world space. Let's do local is equal to vector 3.0. And let's do other.gameObject.transform.rotation is equal to quaternion dot identity. So it resets the orientation of the object as well. All right, with that, we set the object's transform, which is going to incur some sort of an offset, and then we reset those offsets here so that that disappears. Now I need to copy this, and we need to bring this over to left controller. So let's go over here to left controller. And yes, I know you're probably screaming at me right now saying, hey, George, you have two scripts that are doing almost the same thing. Why are you differentiating between them? And that's a good question. And I'm going to defer to Past George. Past George probably did something that required me to make these scripts into two separate ones. And we're going to investigate that in the future probably when we have to unite usable and pick upable. But for right now, we're going to let Past George do his thing. Now let's see, left controller had all of this crap commented out. Oh, you know what? I bet left controller's got other stuff going on. I think left controller had the power and all the other stuff, so I didn't want that to be a thing you use. Which means that technically, in a future video, we should probably make a user menu that allows you to select your primary hand so that you could determine whether or not you want to use the left or the right to select things. For right now, I'm right dominant. I'm going to make it right, but let's put a note in here. What about left dominant people? Make a menu choice so they can select which hand allows for pickups. Also, by doing this, I only allow you to pick one object up at a time. Now that actually is important too, because right now you can pick up as many objects as you want. That's not good. What I should probably have is a game object pickup. Actually, it can probably be a transform. Pickup. At the end of this, so what we want to do is we check to see whether or not that object is a pick-upable. If it is, we then need to do a check to see whether or not we have a pickup. If we have an object already picked up, what we're going to want to do now is release the previous pickup object. So pick dot transform dot parent is equal to null. That way we release it from our bindings and it's good to go. All right, so that's the right controller. This is only on trigger enter. This means that if we move our mouse over something or our hand, excuse me, our tracker, that is just going to automatically do this. And that's not what we want. We want a click or a press probably to associate itself with, you know, choosing this object to pick up. This is not the right place to do this. I don't have a system in place for this. Oh, here we go. We assign two things here. We have on use start and always use. Wait a second. All right, yeah, we got to change this a little bit. So we assign here two events, on use start and on use end, for these right here. Now, why is that called once per frame? It's not called once per frame. This is called once per event that happens through Vive input. So that's not correct at all. The entire idea behind using events is so that you don't have to check things every frame. God, George, you're an idiot. Why did you put that in left controller? Yeah. No, that's not happening every frame. And if it is, then we need to check out why that is so. All right, so on use start, we're going to keep that. God, if I keep that name, I know I'm going to hate myself in the future. Because, God, should I change that to on item or on interact? So what happens? You intersect an object. There's hover and there's usable. You set a usable object. If we come up here, we check that. Now, the same thing should happen for a non-interact, for a pick up object, shouldn't it? So if usable object does not equal null, then do this. I'm going to do a return after that for both of these. The idea is if you have a usable object that you're intersecting with and you happen to have something bound to it that you've picked up, the usable action is going to be preferred beyond, above the object you happen to have in your hand. If you want to be working with the object in your hand, you need to not be working with a usable object in some way. I think that's an okay, it's fine. So if usable object does not equal to null, if pick up, no, what we want to do is everything that we do in here, this. So what happens here? We find an object and we set this and we say pickup.trans. No, this is not what we want to have happen here. We want to have, oh God, do I need to store a held and intersected for pickup objects? That's what I think I need to do. I intersect a pick-upable object. If I have a pick-upable object, let's do transform stored pickup. All right, so other.tag.equals pickup. See, hover object only works if it has a hover script on it, which means that at some point in the future, we're going to need to combine these scripts together to make this whole thing work. But for right now, we're going to keep them distinct, and then we'll fuse things together in the future. And that's probably a giant mistake, but I don't want to deal with it right now. We have pickup and we have stored pickup. Stored pickup object is an object we have decided to click on and actually store. That's going to happen in on use start and on use enter. We're going to do hover pickup. Once again, getting really close to hover object there, but hover pickup right here. So hover pickup, when we do on trigger enter. All right, so if other.tag.equals pickup, if pickup, this is on trigger enter, then we need the hoverable pickup to be equal to something. If not hoverable pickup. Actually, no. It doesn't matter. Regardless of what might be happening. Hoverable pickup is equal to other.gameObject. It's this part that needs to be extricated and moved elsewhere. So what is it? It's other.gameObject. What is hoverable pickup supposed to be? Transform.transform. And then up here, if usable does not equal null, then do this. If hover pickup, then we're going to pick it up as well. Maybe we should do an else if. That way, using something happens, and if it doesn't happen, oh wait, we don't need the else if, we have a return. However, it's probably better for us to use an else if rather than a return, just so that we know what's going on with the whole loop. So this happens, otherwise we're going to do a hover pickup. And then inside the hover pickup, we're going to do all of this logic here. Save, and bam. So we don't need this. This doesn't make any sense. So wait, on new start, else if hover pickup. If stored pickup, then we're going to drop the stored pickup. Drop it down. Otherwise, we're going to do hover pickup. We're going to set its transform equal to whatever we currently have. And the stored pickup becomes the hover pickup. Okay, good enough, right? Now we need to deal with onUseEnd. So if usable object does not equal null, we'll do an else if. Once again, usables are more important than not usable. Else if stored pickup. Otherwise, if we have a stored pickup, and I believe this happens when we onUseEnd. Right button down, trigger, up, trigger. So we hold it up to pick something up, and we release it to let it go. Okay, I'm fine with that for right now. So if we have a stored pickup item, we need to release the stored pickup item and set things equal to null. We don't need to mess with hover. We just need to mess with stored, right? So stored pickup item dot transform dot, is that a transform or is that a game object? It's a transform, so we don't need to go to the transform. We just need dot parent is equal to null, so release it. And then we just need to set stored pickup is equal to null. All right, I think that's all we need to do to make this actually function. Let's minimize that. And I added no notes to this, but that was so simple, I'll forget it in a month when I come back to this series and screw it all up again. So let's just see if this works, okay? So we've got a game plane, a plane on the bottom so that things can't fall through. Let's hit run and just see what happens. Turn our controllers on as well. Okay, get the headset. Okay, that actually looks kind of cool. We don't have any controls for some reason. I figured that would come along for the ride. Do we have no reference exceptions or something? Yeah, we do. All right, let's just pause this for a second and take a look at what we have problems with. Get rid of that. Holy jeez. Okay. So it looks like, wow. All right. So in order for this to be failing, required pieces for completion has to be null. Therefore, this isn't getting filled up early enough. Someone is calling add assembly piece during the awake period. Let's look at our document really quick. So we have awake assembly piece. Let's look. This should probably be an awake. All right. Turn that off. Let's start it again and see what happens. You know, anytime you want to, Unity. There we go. Massive errors again. 20 errors, probably 20 body parts. Oh, I've got some sort of a cyclic thing going on, don't I? I pass in the piece, but I'm telling the required piece to add itself? Is that what I'm really doing here? Was I not thinking? No, required pieces for completion. Oh, it's an empty, it's a freaking empty array. Jesus. Is equal to a new, what is this? A list of type assembly piece. Jeez Louise. All right, let's try this again. That should get rid of 20 errors right there. Okay, we're down to 16. It is saying required pieces for completion.add is not happening early enough. So that means I'm calling this in awake. Assembly manager and assembly level should be the only ones who are calling anything in awake. Everything should be set up before this. So what's the problem? Okay, I didn't note this in my documentation, but assembly level add assembly piece dot this is happening in awake. To make this work properly, we should go under edit, project settings, script execution order. And we have node and AI manager. We should add a new one, which is what? Assembly level happens before other things. Actually, we're going to add another one. No, not fan. Get rid of that. Assembly piece happens after that. Let's try this again and see if it works. Nope. Oh, actually, no. 5 errors. So we got rid of a lot of them. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. That means we probably screwed something up. But who was it? Oh God, we've got lots of errors going on. Why would that be a continual movement controls? Oh, we don't have the Vive input added. Let's add that to our scene. I need to add a scene prefab, don't I? All right, let's create a new game object. Call that Vive input. And what we're going to do is add Vive input to it. There we go. But what we're also going to do is grab the body, put it under Vive input. Let's reset that position. And you have no reason to be anywhere but the origin. So, just flip yourself about there. There you go. Now, instead of Vive input, I'm going to call this required for all levels. And put that under prefabs. There we go. So now we have the body with the Vive input, and we have the Vive input, and we also have the body with everything necessary. So let's delete that. Just put that under there, clear, and hit run, and see what happens. Null reference. All right, we're down to 1 null reference. We're doing better. Add assembly piece. So it says it's a null reference. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. So it's calling something. Someone's calling something that they shouldn't be calling. So it's add assembly piece on assembly level. Add assembly piece gets started in assembly manager right here. And that's an iteration over every assembly piece. So does an assembly piece not have... No, every assembly piece... That's every assembly piece, but every assembly piece here is saying that it does not have... Wait a second. That doesn't make any sense. I'm literally adding to every not null assembly piece itself. Does someone have a null value? Is that what the problem is? This should only happen if required pieces for completion is equal to null. But required pieces for completion is awake and happens there. All right, looks like we need a debug output or something because this is not making sense. So let's do, so the only thing that can be null in this case is the actual piece. All the assembly pieces should be set up before this happens. All right, let's do debug.log piece. See if we get something out of it. .name. Oh, fingers crossed, guys. I don't know. All right, I'm going to clear that out and try it again. All right, we got one debug error right here. Right quad. We got two right quads. Why would we get two right quads? Well, if I screwed something up, that's actually the most likely reason. All right, let's take a look real quick. Left foot, left shin. Right? It should go above that one. Left foot, left shin. Right foot, right shin. Hip. Right knee should go above the hip. Left knee should go above that too. Left quad. This needs to go below that, doesn't it? Right base needs to go above that. So left base, right base, left shin, right shin, left quad, left quad. That's a problem right there. Okay, now, is there a check I can do to make sure that that doesn't happen? I don't think so. All right. One error. Oh, God, the same thing again. This is probably just neglect on my part. All right, turn that off. Let's try this again. All right, one error. Let's see what it was. Right quad, right quad. Again, I didn't... Oh, the editor was... I'm an idiot. Let's actually fix this stuff when the editor isn't running. There we go. Right foot, left foot. Left foot, right foot. Left shin, right shin. Left quad, right quad. Hip, tail, chest piece. No. Chest innards, chest piece. Left arm, right arm. Face innards, right outer face. No. Left outer face, right outer face. And then the snap points. Okay. So let's set this up right. Left foot, right foot. Left shin, right shin. Left quad, right quad. Hips, tail, that's fine. All right. So, left foot, right foot. Left shin, right shin. Left quad, right quad. Hip, tail. All right, let's just see what happens if I hit run. Right quad, right quad. All right, left base foot should be next to right base foot. Where's right base foot? Then left foot, right foot. Then right knee, left knee, above that. Okay, so left, right. That's good. Left foot, right shin, left shin, right shin. Left knee, right quad. This says my right quad is messed up. I'll figure it out tomorrow when my brain is more level-headed. I had a concussion earlier this week, and I don't think my brain is still with me because... Anyway, I'll figure it out tomorrow. So long, everyone, and good night.